Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Creator Spotlight. I am Stella, your host, and I'm here to talk to amazing guests who transform their lives and now are helping so many other people transform their lives too. Today, I have as a guest beautiful Vimla. She is a speaker, a trainer, and an expert in mental health, Ayurveda, and mindfulness. Hi, Vimla. Welcome to this interview.
Hello, Stella. Thank you for having me today.
When I saw your beautiful yellow, the lime color on you, I was like, wow, this looks and feels like sunshine to me. And yeah, it just put a smile on my face. I'm so happy to have you here. And I can't wait for you to share your knowledge and wisdom. I would say a drop of it because you have so much. And so we can't share everything in 30 minutes. But I want our viewers to see how important it is to kind of be aware of all the things that you do, all the things you're working with. So I know that your personal health transformation was a turning point in your life. Can you talk about that? What made you realize, hey, my health is important and I need to start, connecting more with what my body, my mind, and everything in my being needs?
Yeah, I think for me, the journey started in a very long time ago. The journey started, I think, in 2008, 2009, if you can remember the financial crisis at that time, the banking crisis. So it was quite a possibly not such a, it was a challenging time in my life with obviously there were job losses. Uh, I was in a quite a toxic corporate environment. We've just moved house. I had loss of loved one. So all those things happened all in one go. And of course, I became very imbalanced at that time. However, I it was a trip which I didn't know. It was just supposed to be just a trip to with a group of friends. And I then discovered, I went to a retreat and I discovered this beautiful holistic health system called Ayurveda. And at that time, I was having lots of, issues in terms of my diet was very poor. I was suffering from sleep. I couldn't sleep very well for a few weeks. And I also developed some psoriasis on my skin. So I was very imbalanced, both physically and mentally. So I went to India. I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't even going for it. I went just with a retreat with the girlfriends and thinking, oh, it's just going to be a holiday retreat. I got there and the treatment, the transformation that I had was just unbelievable. So I remember having a treatment called, which I am absolutely really passionate about this treatment. It's called Shirodara. The Shirodara is, you may look at it and say, oh, it's just a pouring of oil on your forehead. What does it do? But actually, it have a huge effect on the endocrine system and it have a massive effect on the mood, increasing concentration, focus, sleep, massive positive effect on sleep. So I had this treatment and I woke up the next day. I thought, what? I remember going to the doctor and said, what did you give me? What is it? What is that treatment? What does it do? What do you do? What is the whole thing was just a complete um, craving for knowledge. So it brought me back to the time when I was trained. I was trained as a clinician. I work in the NHS. I trained as a nurse. I sacrifice. I also specialize in psychology, psychiatry. And the thing that came to my head, but why are we giving people tablets to sleep? Why can't we just bring this to the world? Why we don't, it was all this question, why can't we bring this to the world? Why people don't know about it? So it was the whole thing. Anyway, it was a transformation for my health and well-being. So I came home and really craving to, literally gone crazy looking for courses to retrain myself, both in the UK and carry on learning. So up to today, I'm still going to be a lifelong learner, I would say. Um, I think I could learn, you never stop, right? So I did a lot of courses, both in India, and I'm still within a group of practitioners all around the world and being mentored as well. So yeah, my life transformed both physically and psychologically. And I started to really empower my children, my family, of understanding it and what is it.
It sounds like a fascinating experience you've been through, and yes, it's very interesting how you look back in your life and you think, well, that was a key moment for me, or the other one was such a like a wake up call for me, and then from there we open up our mind, our soul, our heart to look for more knowledge and experience. And I know that since then you've worked with so many people from so many different walks of life. How would you say you help everybody who comes into your world create this bridge between like all this beautiful ancient wisdom and the modern challenges that everybody is going through at the moment?
So I think, for me, it's been very much like sort of talking even to friends, to family, when they feel quite imbalanced, understanding, I talk about the doshas. The doshas is like, it's your bioenergies, both physically and mentally. It's the core of Ayurveda and understanding, the four elements of the air, water, fire, ether, the actual all these energies and how it is part of us and who we are. It's the three main doshas that we have in Ayurveda is the Vata, the Kapha, and the Pitta. And they're all Sanskrit words, but when you're understanding the deeper knowledge of each of these bioenergy, everything makes so much sense. For me, when I was in balance, it was the tool. It's almost like somebody gave me a key to my health and well-being. It was like the door opening because it was a classic, exactly what I was going through.
Mm.
My mood, the way that I was reacting, my symptoms was the same because I was completely imbalanced. So the way that I think so far has been really helping friends to understand, their health, their emotional health, and what's going on, and also the diet. And obviously, my passion has been quite deep, and it's been such a long time. I think a lot of my friends probably tired of hearing me talking about it. So and then I obviously I've got my business, which is the name of Veda Sante was created as a result of my love for Ayurveda and my passion. And then I was so wanted to create a well-being center. And that was like a really, I thought, what more can I do to empower people and make people experience what I have experienced? So the journey was to open a well-being center, and unfortunately, that project fell through just before COVID.
Yeah, and
So
these are moments when you think, okay, why is it not going forward? Why is it not happening? But then usually there is something else that's waiting for you. And I know that at the moment you're working on something super exciting. Would you like to tell us about that? Because there might be someone who's watching this video as soon as we publish it, or other people who may find it in years from when we're recording it. So, what is it that you're working on?
yeah, so I'm super excited because, as I said, my passion and my love for sharing my knowledge And the wisdom, the ancient wisdom to the world is very deep. And so I have embarked myself on writing a book whereby it will really give the readers a lot of very simple, sustainable, and practical strategies and tools embedding the ancient wisdoms of Ayurveda. And also, I bring mindfulness into it as well, because I think mindfulness has also had a huge impact in my life. And using the both ancient wisdom can have a really, really positive effect on somebody's well-being, living a happier life and a healthier life. And I think I feel that obviously it's not a new book. There has been so many books being written. However, I feel that those books are really heavy. They're very heavy with just too much, and sometimes it can scare the reader and it can be overwhelming for readers. So I think, as you mentioned before, so far I've been running a lot of well-being and accredited mental health courses in organizations, and as well as helping individuals. I felt it was a book that I would be happy and would be proud to bring to companies,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, it's just going a little bit, open your mind a little bit, and having another toolbox of how we can bring well-being to people who has never heard of Ayurveda. And
Mm.
what is it? And do not confuse it with anything else. It's just a way of life.
That's such a beautiful mission that you decided to embrace and to go forward with, because I know that you are already sharing your knowledge with various various places, in companies, with people, with your clients that come your way. But yeah, when you have it in something like a book, for example, it's just easier to then go forward from there, because like you said, you are bringing your own style, very easy, light, very nice to kind of read and then understand. And so I totally feel like this will be a gift to the world, and I can't wait to read your book when it will be here. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful book for sure. Now, I know that you mentioned, the well-being and the mindfulness, for people in this corporate world. I know that burnout is a really big issue in this era, in this world, and in this time when we live. How would you say, well, what would be some of the clues to tell people that actually you are experiencing burnout? Because I feel like we can keep like adding on things in our life. We keep putting them on our plate, and then when do we know we reached burnout? How
Mm.
to recognize that?
Yeah, interesting question. I think burnout just doesn't happen overnight. Okay, so it's a process and it's a journey. And sometimes people feel the stress coming from all direction. And that can be from within, that can be from home, and that can be from work. So the stress level can be from all different directions. But everybody, like, if I bring Ayurveda into this, it's unique. So we are all very unique in terms of how we react to stress, and the symptoms that we display, when we're stressed and we're burned out. And that's where the deeper knowledge of understanding our doshas is key. It's absolutely really important, because when we understand our bioenergies, our physical, physiological, and psychological, energies, we will start understanding how we react to stress. So some people, for example, with the Vata energy, they're very much kind of the air. So when they are very stressed or burned out, they will get really anxious. They will suffer from anxiety. They may start sort of getting some panic attacks. They will can be quite low in mood, sleeping issues, etc. So it's all kind of around the head. If you are kind of a more pitta dominant, then it's all about fire. So you may start getting, feeling digestion problem. You may start getting some issue with your skin, like I was getting, because it's fire, it's heat. You may start getting eczema and, psoriasis. You'll have digestion issue. It's all about the digestion. Okay. So I'm just, we can talk about that all day, but I'm just giving you the main one. And then with the kapha energy, which is very much the earth, but kind of they're very grounded. But when they imbalance, it's very much the ENT, which is ear, nose, and throat. So they can be very congested. They may have sore throat, they may have ears issue. So they become quite lethargic. And that's kind of a way of they're dealing with the stress and burnout. They may completely withdraw themselves. They can be quite isolated. So as I said, the symptoms of burnout can vary from one person to the other. So the earlier we understand, we have an analysis and we understand when is that person balanced and when is that person imbalance is where the signs of burnout or where we are suffering from stress and we'd reach the point of we really, really need help. However, it's like really because it's such a holistic approach. So we're looking at the physically, psychologically, every way. So of course, the diet is key. So we have learned from, 5,000 years ago how diet is key. And we may suffer burnt out where we don't know what's going on, with the diet. Are we under eating? Are we overeating? What type of food and vegetables we're eating? And what are we putting in our body? And how this is affecting our brain and how this is affecting our focus, our concentration at work. And that could also be leading to a severe stress and anxiety. And how is our sleep? All these things are just so interlinked that, your lifestyle, your diet, your physical being, your psychological well-being. So it's really looking at the whole person. And the most important as well is understanding when is that person balanced and what are the reason, what has caused those imbalances. It's not just knowing who we are, but it's knowing how to correct those imbalances. That is key.
And it all starts with awareness. And in order to bring those things into our awareness, we need to spend time to almost like study ourselves. And especially when you have someone like yourself to help with this like studying of ourselves, it's so much easier. And I absolutely love your approach because you're someone who will go really, really deep into like what is it that you want, what do you need, how do you sleep, how do you eat, like all of these things, and you take time to understand the person at a very, very deep level. And I'm very grateful that you're going to bring this knowledge in your book as well. I'll be able to have it on my shelf and go back to it every time I need to read it. So I know that you talk a lot about mindfulness. How can we start to gradually integrate more mindfulness or mindfulness into our day-to-day life?
Yeah, mindfulness is really growing rapidly, obviously, highly recommended in the NHS, both for patients and for staff. It has been there for a long time, but still people, I think, don't understand it like a lot of ancient wisdom. Either we've heard it so many times, but until we put ourselves into it, until we start practicing it or understand it before we practice. Okay, so how can we put, what is mindfulness? To start with, it's just the focusing on the present. It's really being present, and what has happened before, it's gone. So how do we bring our emotions, our energy to that moment and appreciating it? And, so we have formal and informal mindfulness sessions. So you don't need to be, going to a quiet room with candles, with, extremely, engaging room. You can have mindfulness anywhere, anytime, anywhere. So I think that's what I like about it, because you could be at work and you could just switch off for 5 minutes and, you know, and practice mindfulness. So, for example, I call about informal mindfulness. You could be filling the dishwasher. You're having your 5 minutes, you're going for a walk. If you are trying to maybe to lose weight, you could use mindfulness for mindful eating. So there are so many ways. You go for your walk, you have your 5, 10 minutes of, sometimes we go for walk, we may have gone for same walk, but we haven't looked around. And you go second time, you start looking at the trees, you start observing the flowers, you start looking at the nature. That's because you're present at that moment, and suddenly you're opening up. So mindfulness can be used in really, really a wide variety of way. It can be formal in terms of your body scan. You can have your 15 minutes aware of every part of your body, be grateful of, what we have, we're breathing, our legs, our arms, all these things can be quite, if, you can be at home doing it. You can have all this session, morning, in the evening, or you can embed this little bit of mindfulness during the day. And over time, it is definitely science proven that it has a huge positive impact on our emotional regulations. So it's definitely decrease the level of stress and help us to focus on our work, help us to concentrate, sleep better, and feel better.
Mm. Yeah, and then I can, as you were talking about these walks and how to start noticing the flowers, you took me there in that story with you because I love to go for these walks and observe the nature around me. But I totally agree that when you go through times in your life where you there is a bit of an imbalance, it's that element is not there because you constantly think about, oh my God, what have I done there? How can I fix that? How can I work more there? So I love that you mentioned all of these examples because it's like it's a reminder for all of us that in those moments all we have to do is to create this habit of, hey, I want to be present right here, right now. And it is such a powerful thing to do. I think also in any kind of work that we do as well, because we, like you said, we can deal with stress, for example, at home. And then if we go and do the type of creative work with people or with the world, you're present in that moment as you're doing that beautiful work, or vice versa. So thank you so much for bringing us this knowledge and information to bring it into our awareness. So I know that you work very much with Ayurveda, and your book will talk a lot about that too. But let me ask you this question. So imagine or think about maybe one of your clients who came into your world, they started exploring all of this beautiful knowledge and wisdom. What are their first reactions once they realize that there are so many puzzle pieces that are coming together? Like, what kind of messages they say to you, your clients, once they experience that?
Yes, sometimes they're just like, oh my God, it's just like so accurate to a lot of things that, and it's just like they recognize themselves. They say, oh my gosh, that's me. And then it becomes quite empowering because they say, oh, now I recognize my partner. Now I think this is where my daughter is, or my children. So the power of it is it's really powerful because it's not just for you. And that's what it's all about. It's not just for you because it's not just about you being in balance. It's about how do you empower your loved ones and people around you. And I also feel that there is a huge, can have a huge impact with people you're working with because you really understand the communication, the way they communicate. I didn't go into all the details, but for example, the Vata energy are really, they're great at communications. That's their dosha. That's where they should be. And, they are, would be in a company, they would be great in marketing, for example, communication, where the Pitta are more kind of the leader, the transformation. They'll probably be kind of CEOs of companies. And the Kapha will be in a company, will be very the structure, the system, banking, IT. So all this energy, we need them. There is no right and wrong. So when I talk about those imbalances, when I talk about the balance and the imbalances, people become really, really interested. They thought, I can see that. Now I understand this. So the awareness is huge and they can see how they can use it either for themselves, for their clients, or even at work.
Mm. And how powerful is that? Because then they immediately can understand how, like, why they've had a specific type of connection with certain people in their lives. And then when we understand ourselves better and others around us, it just makes our life easier. Because you then understand, okay, that person is, someone who needs more space. Somebody else wants to communicate more. And so it's such a fascinating topic for sure. And thank you for mentioning this. So I also know that you talk a lot about resilience. So why is that important, and how can we start building our resilience starting from today, if
Oh,
possible?
okay. So I think what is resilience? We always think about resilience, or we're going to bounce back. That's what we hear, right? Resilience bouncing back. Actually, resilience is about bouncing forward with clarity, with focus, with knowledge. That's I see resilience. And resilience doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. I call it the micro step or the power of 1%. And if you understand where the stress is coming from, then you will build a resilience. You can bring a lot of tools and techniques for resilience. First of all, is understanding the root cause of your stress or what's going on. Understanding where to ask for help and who to ask for help is important. And learning about what's happened and being more empowered. How are you going to learn? How are you going to turn those mistakes or what's happened into opportunities and growth? That's resilience.
Mm,
Understanding our everything around us and creating a very supporting environment around us. And that can be, within your community and also within work. And who to trust and having those network of, building a trustworthy surrounding is really important for resilience. And I bring that very much into some of the courses or workshop that I do for companies. And one thing also is really important, which I bring, is the power of gratitude. Yes, the power of gratitude is really important, and that's kind of part of mindfulness, but also bring with resilience. If you start focusing sometimes on what we are grateful every day, write down 3 things you're grateful on and reflect on it. And that's also adding to our resilience on a daily basis. and writing your journals, say thank you, or not focusing in turning any negative thoughts into what is it we can, how can you make this positive? What is it we're going to we can add, and how can we learn from mistakes that we've made or things that's happened?
Mm, it's again working with that present moment to be present in that moment, and I love what you said that you take everything that you're experiencing and you're thinking about like how can you take the lesson from there or something that can help you going forward. I love to use this term when I talk about these things. I say that it's like alchemizing those things into something that's more positive. And I know that sometimes you may hear messages like, well, isn't this something that transforms into toxic positivity? Because then you become, even if you go through something challenging, you're still grateful to some people that can create this question of like, is this extreme positivity? But to me, there is a big difference between, hey, toxic positivity and actually taking life as it comes, being present in every moment and alchemizing that energy to create something that's useful. It's productive, it's really good for us and for people around us. So I know that you help a lot of people in the corporate world. You do a lot of trainings, and also when you work with people, you help them unlock their true potential through the practices and through the guidance that you do. What would you say is one common mindset block? So, for example, when somebody comes to you, what kind of messages are they telling you of like, I don't think I can do that, or I'm not sure I'm capable of this? What kind of mindset block is the most common when people come into your world?
I think a lot of them felt or think they know about things or what they've heard or they've assumed knowledge. But when they come to the course or when they come to the workshop, they get the deeper knowledge. And
Mm,
then it was like a really light bulb moment for them. I thought, oh, I did not understand that, or I thought I knew. So I think it's a lot of, concepts or knowledge that you bring in, then it's like really unlock that and they go out there and really start having an impact for themselves, but also empower other people around them. And that is the beauty of what I do, I think.
mm. Thank you so much. To everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video to know how to connect with Vimla, to see what she's working on, what she's having coming up, as you're checking her website, depending on when you're watching this video. And Vimla, if you were to share one last message to those who are watching us, maybe to someone who feels stuck, they feel like they're going through burnout, there is something challenging in their life, what would be one of the first steps they can start implementing today to help them navigate through those times of their life?
Um, I think start writing. I think use a journal and write down write down what you're going through, even if it is two sentences. Reflect on it and then take action.
Wow. Thank you so, so much. Thank you for your beautiful presence here today. Thank you to everyone who's watching us. And if you're new to our channel, please take a moment to subscribe, like this video, let us know your thoughts, and connect with Vimla and myself. Thank you again for watching. See you again soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.